Hi everyone, welcome to Think Smart Home. It's another tutorial to install and set up a very powerful uptime monitoring service on your local network, Uptime Kuma. This is a feature-rich software and I'll show you how to set it up to monitor both your LAN and remote services. Also to get notified when any one of them goes down. I'll show you how you can create status dashboards to monitor the service status without any need to log into the portal. We will be installing Uptime Kuma on our synology NAS using Container Manager and setting up few different types of monitors to see how it works. Before we go into the tutorial, I have set up some monitors on my network to show you so that you know what to expect once the installation and setup is complete. You can see I have set up some ping monitors for IP addresses, some Docker monitors and some port monitors. We'll discuss some of these in details in this video. Before we start, since this is another video on Synology DSM and if you don't own a Synology NAS, I have created a video on how to make your PC a Synology NAS and test the DSM before you can buy a real Synology NAS. I'll share the link to that video down in the description below. Alright, let's get started. I will assume you have already installed and set up Container Manager on your Synology NAS and you have shared folder called Docker. Go into this folder and create another folder and call it Uptime Kuma. Go to Container Manager on your Synology NAS, click on Project, click Create, give it a name. This will be your container name. For path, browse to Uptime Kuma folder you just created and select it. For source, select Create Docker Compose. Now copy the code I have left in the description and paste it in the text box. Here we just need to update the volume path. Go back to Docker share folder and right click on Uptime Kuma folder you just created and copy the path. Go back to Container Manager and paste the copied path under the volumes on the left hand side of the column. Note the rec sign which is added to monitor the Docker containers. Take a note of the port number 3001 on the left hand side of the column. We'll need it to access Uptime Kuma later. You can change this one too if you want or if you're already using 3001 for any other service. I'll leave everything as default and I'll click next. We are not going to set up any web portal for this, so click next. Then click on done. Container Manager will start downloading the image for Uptime Kuma from their website. This might take some time. While this is happening, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Also, hit the bell icon to get notified every time I release a new video about smart home automation, storage and network security. Alright, you can see the Uptime Kuma container has been installed and started by the Container Manager. Exit code 0 means process has completed without any error. Okay, now to access Uptime Kuma, use the IP address of your Synology NAS followed by the port number 3001 as I mentioned previously. You can now see the setup page. Since this is the first time you are logging into this Uptime Kuma instance, so you have to create an account. You can change the language if you want. Enter the username, then the password, confirm password. Once you are done, click create. Now you should see the dashboard where you can set up Uptime Kuma. Before we start adding the monitors, let's quickly go through the settings. Under General tab, we have Display Time Zones, Server Time Zone, Search Engine Visibility. This is just in case if you want to let the search engine spider crawl through it. Entry page, the page you want to see when you log in. I'll leave it to dashboard. Then we have some DNS cache related settings. Appearance. It is quite straightforward and nothing much to explain here. Notifications. This is important. Here we need to set up notification service to get updates about downtime events when any service goes down. We'll discuss about this in later part of this video. Reverse proxy. This is to set up reverse proxy to access Uptime Kuma using Cloudflare tunnels, for example. I'm not going to talk about this. I have already created a very detailed video on how to set up Cloudflare tunnel to access your network services. I'll leave the link to that video down in the description below. Tags. We will talk about tags while we create monitors. You'll see all the tags you have added later in here and can edit, test or remove them from here anytime later. Monitor history. Here you can set up the days you want to keep the history for. Docker host. We'll talk about this while setting up monitors. You'll see all the Docker hosts you have added under this tab and you can edit them, test them or remove them from here later. Security. This is again very straightforward and I am sure I don't need to explain how to change password and set up two-factor authentications. API keys and proxies. We are not going to discuss this in this video, so I'll leave it for now. Backup. Since backup feature is not being maintained anymore, so the best way to backup Uptime Kuma is just backup the folder under volume we created earlier during installation. About page. About page of course will display the version info and the link to the GitHub page. Alright, the fun time. Let's add few monitors. So to add a monitor, click on add new monitor. We will start with the simplest one, which is the HTTP type, where it will simply check the website for uptime. Under monitor type, select HTTP, give it a name. I'll do it for Google for now. Enter the website address and I will enter google.com. Now for heartbeat interval, enter the time you want Uptime Kuma to check your device or your service. I'll enter 20 seconds. So this means it will check the website after every 20 seconds for the uptime. Retries. I'll skip it for now. These are the number of retries Uptime Kuma will do before reporting the service as down. We will talk about this when we have set up a notification service later in this video. Same goes for our retry interval. We'll come back to this one later. Resend notification is quite clear that after how many failed retries will it send another notification as a reminder. You can set it up for your critical service in case you want to receive a reminder notification. This purely relates to notification service, so we'll see it in action later. Under advanced, check the certificate expiry notification. Leave the SSL errors unchecked. Leave the ups and down mode unchecked for now. This will report when a service is up and running instead of when it's down. So it can be handy in some cases, but I'll ignore this one for now. Leave the max redirect to default. These are the maximum number of redirects your website or your web page have before system reports it down. Accepted status codes are generally in 200 series, so leave it as default. 300 are generally means the redirects, 400 means the invalid page request or page not found, and the 500 series generally are the server-side errors. You can create a group to group your monitor for better organizations. I'll create a group and give it a name web. When a monitor under a group goes down, it will impact the uptime of the whole group. We'll see this in action soon. You can add any descriptor to your monitor if you want. I'll leave it for now. Lastly, you can add a tag and give it a color to easily identify the monitor quickly. Click Save. Now the monitor is created immediately and you can see it's already up and running. The green status marker on the top are 20 seconds check indicator as per our selection. Our status is currently up and running. Then we have response time in milliseconds, average response time in last 24 hours, uptime in 24 hours, and uptime in last 30 days. And then lastly, a very handy SSL certificate expiry warning. This is a very simple monitor to monitor a web page. Okay, let's create a more interesting monitor. Let's create a monitor for the Docker container. Click on Add Monitor and select Docker Container. Give it a name. Then again enter the container name or the ID. This should be the real container name from your container host. Let's say I want to monitor my homepage container, so I'll enter the name of container exactly as it is shown in my container host. We haven't configured any Docker hosts, so let's add one. In my case, it will be a Synology NAS container manager. Give your host a name. Connection type will be socket. Docker daemon will be docker.sock. Remember the line we added to Docker-Compose.yml file? So this is the usage of that line. Click on test. You can see on the bottom right, it is confirming the connection with the number of Docker containers you have currently in your Docker host. Click save. For heartbeat interval, I'll select 20 seconds, which is the lowest. Then the number of retries before it marks the service down and send out a notification. I'll set it to 3 for now. A retry interval I'll leave as 20 seconds, same as the heartbeat interval. For a reminder notification, I'll set it to 5. So it will start sending me notifications after every 5 failed retries until it can successfully see my container. I'll add it to the same monitor group for now, which I created earlier. For the tag, we can use the existing tags or add a new one. I'll add a new one with a different color. Click save. Alright, now we can see we have 2 monitors under the main group and they can easily be identified by their color tags. For Docker Container Monitor, we have all the same settings as HTTP Monitor except the certificate expiry one. We can see our container monitor is up and is checking the container status every 20 seconds. Now let's stop the container to see what happens. Uptime Kuma should report it as pending within 20 seconds because that's how we have set it up. Alright, container has been reported as pending since the system can't see is up and running. But it will have 3 tries before it can mark it down and report as down. So we will wait until it has 3 failed retries on it. There you go. You can see the container was marked as down after 3 failed attempts. When one monitor goes down, it will have an impact on the whole group uptime. You can see that. We could see the container was reported as down, but we didn't get any notifications. That's because we didn't set up any notifications. Let's restart the container so monitor can come back to normal state and we will set up a notification using Home Assistant. Alright, our container is back up and running and both monitors and the group are now healthy and green. Now to set up the notification, go to Settings page and click on Notification tab. Here the first setting is regarding certificate expiry warning. You can set the number of days to get the notification before the certificate expires. I'm happy with the default, so I'll leave them unchanged. Now click on Setup Notifications. There are multiple ways you can set up the notifications and these are explained very well on the wiki help page. I'll leave the link to Uptime Kuma wiki page down in the description below. For this tutorial, I'll use Home Assistant method to get notifications. For those of you who are not using Home Assistant, it's a very powerful smart home automation platform which focuses on privacy and local control. I have created a couple of videos on how to install Home Assistant on Synology NAS. I'll leave the link to those videos down in the description below. Alright, back to the tutorial. To set up notifications, select Home Assistant. Give your notification service a name. I'll call it Uptime Alert. Then enter your Home Assistant URL. This essentially is your Home Assistant login URL. Can be with or without port depending upon how you have set up your Home Assistant. Then we need to have a long-lived access token from Home Assistant to let Uptime Kuma use Home Assistant notification service. To get this token, log into your Home Assistant. On the bottom left, click on your profile name and click on Security tab. Scroll down to see long-lived access tokens. We'll add a new token for Uptime Kuma, so click Create Token. Enter the service name which is going to use the token. In this case, I'll be using it for Uptime Kuma. Click OK. Token will be generated. Just copy the token as it will not be displayed again. Go back to Uptime Kuma portal and then paste the token in there. Now you need to add your device name which is registered in Home Assistant to get notifications. To get your device name, go back to Home Assistant, Developers Tools, Services, and here search for the notification to see your mobile device. Just copy it back on Uptime Kuma portal, paste the mobile device name you just copied into the text box. Enable both toggles below to enable notifications for new and existing monitors. Click Test. If everything worked well, you should see a notification on your mobile device under Home Assistant app from Uptime Kuma. Click Save. Now the notification service is added. If we quickly check the monitor setting for a container, we can see the notification service is enabled for this monitor. Let's stop our container once more to test our notification service in real time. Alright, system has reported the monitor state as pending and now it will wait for 3 failed retries as per our setup before sending a downtime alert notification on my mobile device. Alright, we can see the notification on the Home Assistant app after 3 failed retries. There are 2 notifications, one is for group and the other one is for monitor itself. As I explained earlier, if any monitor goes down, it will have an impact on uptime for the whole group, which is why we are getting 2 notifications. It will keep sending us the reminder notification after every 5 failed retries, because that's how we have set it up, until the monitor becomes normal again. So we will wait for 5 failed attempts. As you can see the reminder notifications, that means service is still down. So our reminder notification service is working. Okay, let's start the container again. Alright, as soon as the heartbeat returns to normal, we get 2 more notifications that both the group and the monitor are back online. So this was a basic setup of couple of monitors and the notifications on Uptime Kuma. There are lots of other monitor type which you can set up, for example the HTTP keyword, which is very handy. You can look for a keyword on a web page to check if that page is up and running. Uptime Kuma will report the page as up if it can see the keyword on that page. As soon as the keyword is not found on that page, it will report it as down. You can see how powerful and user-friendly Uptime Kuma is. I highly encourage you to support the developer if you are really using it in your setup. Before I conclude the video, let me show you another powerful and very handy feature of Uptime Kuma: the status pages. You can easily create publicly accessible status pages about your services. To create a status page, click on Status Pages, New Status Page, give it a name. I'll call it Test. Enter the slug. I'll again call it Test. Click Next. Here you can add groups or select the existing groups and monitors. Let's add all the monitors which we created. You can also tweak some settings or add more info from the left side menu. I'll skip it for now. Click save and there you go. You have your status page ready. You can even access this without logging onto Uptime Kuma portal. Also, you can share it with anyone who might need to know if any of your services are down. Alright, so that was a basic tutorial on how to set up and use Uptime Kuma. It can definitely do a lot more than what is covered in this video. I'll leave that to your use cases and imaginations, of course. Thank you very much for watching all the way until end. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.